Okay, need to click live again. Hang on. There we go.
We acknowledge Creator, the Mother, the Spirits, and our ancestors of the many lands this voice is being heard in.
And we're back. Luna, Jess, a very stationary Jess, and we have got my brother, we have got Donnie with us as well. And I want to welcome all of you back. Bright and breezy, I hope, after a really extraordinary Freaky Friday last night. It was almost the perfect warm-up for what we're going to get into today. I have just a brief idea of where today's show is going to go, thanks to my illustrious co-host for the day. Yes, there she is there, with her brilliant other half. Good to see you again, Dan, as well. I think Dan's still there. He may have walked away by now. He's gone. You see, it looks like he's still there. But anyway, to the spirit of Dan, I give a big shout out. But Jess, it's great to have you back, and I'm really looking forward to getting back into all of what we touched on the last time and building upon that information. Before we go anywhere, I want to thank you in particular for helping bring everything together on the back end, get all the images, get everything sorted out so that I can just come along here, throw it all together, and I want the audience to know that really with this show and the last show, all credit goes to Jess, Luna, and Donnie. I am literally just here hosting this, and they're doing all the hard work. They're the ones bringing all of this information to the table. And to show them your appreciation, if you could just take the time to press share, press like, and we'll try and get some of this info that I think goes beyond woo. Yeah, sure, it touches on the kind of topics I get into, but it's far more important than just, you know, a laugh and a joke than we sometimes have. And don't get me wrong, there's going to be lots of laughing and lots of joking along the way if the conversation's anything to go by before we came on air. But last time out, we learned that it's a bit different to what we're used to, especially yours truly here. And we swap that old patriarchal system, and we get woke. I'm only joking, not woke. It's a different way, it's a different culture when we're dealing with Luna and Donnie, and we're going down under for our special broadcast. So Jess, I'm going to come to you. You look like you're moving again. Congratulations, welcome back. What happened on your... Did anything interesting happen on your time slip there? It looked like you were kind of phasing out of this realm and going somewhere else, you know?
I mean, it wouldn't be surprising with the last couple of days I've had, Kev. Good old Mercury being in retrograde and all that.
It's Mercury, sister, it's Mercury. But today I'm co-hosting. You have the reins. You're steering with Luna, myself and Donnie here. But again, thank you, Jess, for helping put this together. I mean, you've gone from guest, from listener to guest to co-host, and now host in a foul swoop. But there's a takeover going on here, folks. Don't think I haven't recognised it. They're trying to kick me out of my own show.
No, sorry, Kev.
No, on you go, Jess. I want you to kind of set us up today and bring Luna and Donnie into the action here.
Cool. Well, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for me today because I can't see any of yous or anything you've got on the screen. So you can see me, I think, but I can't see you
Okay,
guys. So
I'll stop.
that'll be interesting.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'll stop sharing here, Jess, and I'll try it again. Maybe it'll come through now that your internet's working better. So
Yep.
don't be scared when I disappear in a second, Luna and Donnie. Stop
Thanks,
sharing.
Kev. Sorry,
That's all right.
guys.
No, that sometimes happens. That's okay. There we go.
Yeah, I can see you now.
There you go. Have you got us now?
No.
Nah,
That's all right. It's all good.
it's okay. You know that I'm looking very hairy. Yeah, it's very hairy. It's daylight outside.
I know what Donnie looks like. I know what Luna looks like.
Donnie's a handsome man in a very toxic, heterosexual kind of way. Yes.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having us on again, Kev. It's a real honour and a pleasure. And it's a real honour and a pleasure to have Donnie and Luna with us again. And I'm very grateful to them for wanting to share this information with us. It's not every day you get to be privy to this kind of information. So I just want to really thank them because obviously without them, there wouldn't be a show, I wouldn't be here and whatnot. So I feel like I'm riding in the back of them. But,
Daisy Luna, Mammy, Donnie, Yammer, PPP.
There we go. Even Brian's getting in the spirit of things. Thank you very much, Polly. Yes, indeed. And
thanks, Polly.
yeah, today's
Yeah.
I'm really kind of. I'll be honest with you. I was speaking to people about this. It's beyond even flattered that the Kev Baker show is putting this information out there, because I appreciate that. I'm kind of I would say honoured to be getting a first-hand kind of window into some of the information that Donnie and Luna have. And you can read books and you hear documentaries and things about people that go and try and live with Indigenous people anywhere, you know, and to get accepted to the point where people are talking to you and sharing information like that, it's not lost on me just how significant that is. So I hope Donnie and Luna and everyone listening really knows just how much I appreciate the fact that we're doing this here, you know?
Yeah, big time. Totally.
Yes,
so thank
yes.
you very much, Donnie and Luna. And we've got some cool stuff to get into today. We're going to build on some of the things we spoke about last time, and we've got some new things to talk about. So I'm not quite sure where you want to start.
I know where I want to start. If it's okay with you girls, I want to thank Donnie for bringing us the new intro for today's show. And Donnie, tell us, how did that come about, this didge that we were listening to on the way in there?
Well, that gentleman's been all over the world playing that didge. He's even been to Scotland.
Wow,
and
man.
That's what the didge maker, plus he teaches the young fellas how to make didge, the story of the didge, and how to use the didge.
So how much of the story of the didge would you be willing to share with us? How did all that come about, Donnie?
Yeah, might have to ask Jess that one because I've only got bits and pieces of it, but I know it comes
the
up
didge
in
is
North
really
Country.
interesting because it's one of the only instruments that nature actually creates and makes. And
Yeah, that's how it goes. Yes, that's how.
basically man just comes along, chops down a hollowed out tree that has been hollowed out by white ants up in the Northern Territory is where the didges are made and played in the Yolngu speaking region. And up there they've got tons and tons of white ants. They just completely rule the place up there. And so part of finding a didge is going out, finding the right size one, the right shape one, and basically they chop it down. They get a really red hot poker and push out all the crap in the middle because it's already been hollowed out by the white ants. And then basically they just sand it back and then they decorate it and paint it. And so it basically comes, ready to play, ready to use. So it's one of the only instruments in the world that are like that.
Yeah, it's
It's a real natural sound, and that sound of the earth sort of thing.
it just goes to your core. I've always said that you start to vibrate with it in a good way. And Luna, I'll come to you. You know, I don't know where we're really going to kick off into the topics we've got for today, but yeah, the didge, it's something very, very unique, and I would imagine very central to a lot of your ceremonies, stuff like that.
Yeah, it is, Kev. It's a man's object, obviously.
Yeah.
The girls here, when they hear the didge, it draws the women like a magic flute.
Yeah, see, I can imagine that, absolutely. Yeah.
And the story, what I know of the didge, it started up top, like Jess said, and the women up there are the only women that are allowed to play the didge. All the other women in all the other countries, south and west and east, aren't allowed to play the didge except them women.
Now, when you've got your different mobs then, Donnie, is there an assigned didge player along with your clever man, or would that kind of double as the two?
Yeah, basically what you're saying, yes, that's correct. You got to be assigned for it to be a didge player, to be a clever man, to be an elder. You're chosen.
Yeah.
And it's a good time to segue into. Yeah, it's a good opportunity to segue into men's business and women's business as well, because I was chatting to Donnie about that earlier today, and apparently, because I just wanted to get more of an idea on what men's and women's business is, and it's basically a series of initiations. And I'll let Donnie explain it because he actually explained it really well earlier today. So on you go, Donnie.
You ever see the photos of them old fellas? They've got scars across their chest and across their arms. They're put on there when they do initiation, when they give knowledge. And it goes from there. Each scar means more knowledge, more initiation.
So, so it goes through.
That scar, they can tell what that scar was put on there for. And it's like a memory reboot, for wanting a better word, because of them scars.
Wow.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yep. So a lot of
that's why you see the old fellas with the scars.
So, Donnie, as a young man then, if we stick with the man's business, I know we should have gone to Luna first for the women's business, but is that okay, Luna? Yeah. If I was, as you're growing up then, what's your first kind of opportunity, or when do you get your first scar? When does that come along?
No, that depends. Your age, your maturity. It's not like I said, it's not a choice. You understand? Like,
it's like so would it be kind of, you're just all kind of living your life, but one of the elders, the clever man, they would identify certain things maybe within somebody?
Yeah, you are chosen for that particular job. Yes, that's the way it goes.
Wow. So, Luna, listening to that then, what's the path, what's the course for a woman growing up then? The women's business. When does that all start?
Usually, basically for every person, male or female, when they get puberty, that's when it starts, and they all get marked at puberty. And it signifies, so you're a young man or woman, and then you're like 20-something, you're an older form of that youngness, so it happens again. Then you get married, so it happens again. Then you have children, and it happens again. Then you become auntie, uncle, and it happens again. And you get older to the point where you become the elders of the community because you've got a lot of knowledge, and then it happens again. But as it progresses, it gets to different levels and higher levels. And of course, like Brother said, it depends on your job. If you're a dancer, a painter, what your job is. You know, there's different jobs, and you can have one job sometimes. And when them times come around, that's considered as well. And that comes in your naming as well. When they give you a skin name, it's to describe who you are.
Skin name.
Yeah. The skin that you're in. Like, how can I just... who you are now.
It's,
Yeah.
it's
Who
basically
you are. Who you are contained in that body. So
it,
that's... Go, Jess.
sorry. It feeds into their kinship system, which is like the most sophisticated and complex kinship system in the world. And it's really highly mathematically and geometrically precise way of preventing intermarriages and incest, and as well as keeping balance with nature and with each other as well. So when Dan and I were up in Barunga staying with the mob up there, we were both given a skin each once they come to know us a bit, and they decided, right, you're going to be this skin, you're going to be this skin. And you can only choose from like 2 other skins that you can marry. And there's like 16 skins or something up there. But only 2 of them will be people you can marry from.
Wow.
Those 2 skins. Yeah, it's very, very complex. Yeah.
It's just that
So-
it's because of the way that I'm used to the world working, it's even hard to kind of wrap your head around that when you first hear it. It must be so complex to the point of people like me. It'd be really, you could maybe never really truly understand what's going on there, right? But
Yeah.
it sounds like when you look around the world, it sounds like it's a system that very much works. And maybe something we need to get a bit back to basics on moving forward into the crazier future we're going into. I don't know, I just think that the reason we're talking about all of these kind of ancient mysteries, myths, different peoples, we get Kevin coming in with the Native American stuff. I don't know, it's almost like it feels as if we're having to go over the old information right at this special time in the cycle where we're about to move into, call it a new age, a new cycle. I don't know, I don't think it's a coincidence that we've really come together and started putting out info like this at this time. What do you think to that, Luna?
Oh, I think you're right, Kev. It isn't a coincidence.
No, and since I last spoke to you, it's been a weird and wonderful kind of journey I've been on. Books coming my way that seem to literally retell the story that we got into the first time, only it had science to back it up. It talked of the people that came, the ships that came, and I tell you, it's mind-blowing. And then I'll be reading something and it'll throw me back to the conversation we've had here, or it'll throw me back to Kevin in Minnesota. And that's why I don't ignore synchronicities I used to. That's why it's in opening up today, Luna, I said let's transcend the woo for me. It goes above woo, because I think it's really, really important on a level that maybe we don't even appreciate right now, you know?
Yeah, I can understand that. For us, it's kind of natural. What was I going to say? What am I allowed to say about that?
You see, now we're getting close to, I don't ever want to, I want the 2 of you to know, I never want to push you into something, or I don't
What-
ever want you
what-
to feel like I'm even pushing you somewhere you don't want to go, you know?
Yeah, the best way I can explain it, we call them pathways. When you walk the pathway, and what Creator will do, and the Mother will bring it the way that you know. So for you, Kev, a book was brought to help you understand and see the synchronicity and the joining of the dots and how we're all connected.
And it's a book I didn't even know I was getting, and Jess can attest to that, because I only thought I was getting one of Bruce Fenton's books, and then his wife's book turned up as well. And it's that one that just absolutely sent me into a spinning kind of a tailspin, really, because it was as if that book was written for the conversation we had. It's almost as if that book arrived just when I needed it, just with all that information in my mind. Jess, you're smiling. You know I get freaked out sometimes by the woo, but there is a bit of a freakiness to this, because it was just too synchronistic, you know?
Yeah.
No such thing as coincidence.
No.
Where they landed, it's on a parallel of 33 degrees.
That is, that doesn't surprise me. And of course, this is down near Gosford, right?
Yeah, it's on 33 degrees.
The special 33. That number over here, or up here in the northern hemisphere, that's a really significant number at the best of times, 33. What is it? Do you have any numerology stuff like that you see numbers with special significance, maybe?
Yeah, they're marked on sacred rocks.
Yeah. 4 is really important to us, especially in music.
Oh, Jess.
More of an oracle.
Yeah, Jess, I'm going to give it to you here, because
7.
I'm nearly getting information here that I
7.
don't think we're allowed to get
7
yet.
is really important.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our number system, what I can tell you, our number system went by our hands, 10, and after 10, you just got to go back. That makes everything in the number system.
Yeah. Yep, that makes sense.
So, and we're very basic, simple, go back to what works practical. And if you need more, you got your toes, and then you got another person to help you out with the same 10 system. But the significant numbers, there's 7, 3, 4 major numbers. You fellas say the 6 is bad, but the 6 has its place. We see everything has its place. It's not evil and it's not good. Everything's alive and has a right to live, and it has its place. And when it goes out of its place, that's when people start to deal with it.
Interesting. Very interesting. Now, I've got a list of things here as well, okay? And Jess had put some topics together. And when we were talking there about my synchronicity, you mentioned the creator, the way the creator does things. Talk to us more about the creator. What is the creator to you, Luna?
Creator?
Yeah.
Well, the proper word is Bayami, is our formal word, and that equals God to what you fellas say. But we have an informal word as well, which is Burala, because we can speak to Creator formally and informally. I say Creator because it's easier to communicate between our world and the outside world. When I say Creator, all people of all religions can relate to that. And the one Creator of all things, the first maker of all things, created everything else, and that's all the little G's and the little gods of histories. They're little G's. We call them creator beings, but they were made by Creator. So Creator is everything, and Creator's in everything. Everything.
Yeah.
There's a spark of creator in everything, and it all works together in that pathway of synchronicity.
And those lower little g gods are responsible for all the energies, good and bad, all the things that happen to people. Basically, they're the deities of different energies, I suppose, you could put it that way.
Yeah, I like that idea that the creator of small g creators, because I do think there's beings out there, obviously, are like we talk about. I mean, we talked last time about the fact that came here, done experiments, done their things. They came from the Pleiades. I think we uncovered the last time, and yeah, for me, there's always been that creator kind of, call it an alien race, Jess, for lack of a better term. But that makes sense to me the way Luna described that there, because they turn up on a world, and you're gonna think that's a god, right? Something turns up like that, but it's not the creator, and they come from the creator. So yeah, I like that, makes sense, yeah.
And that kind of reminds me a bit of the Wandjina, which I think we've mentioned on a previous show, not with Donnie and Luna, but maybe when I was on with Dan. We touched briefly on the Wandjina. And they are, I've been doing a bit of research into them actually, and they're the ones that actually look like the ETs, you know, the greys, for lack of a better word. And yeah, I was talking to Luna about them a bit earlier, and she brought up a few things I didn't know about them. Luna, did you want to, you say your bit and then I'll...
Okay, the Wandjina spirits, when they painted that picture, none of us are allowed to paint the Wandjina spirits, and you're not allowed to paint them with a mouth. That's a real no-no. And if me or Donnie even painted them in our house, we'd get in a problem, even though other people wouldn't know, but they would know. And the reason they painted the pictures themselves is because they didn't want anyone to know what they really look like.
That's really interesting.
And the other thing is, I don't know, I've never seen them in real life. I've only seen them in a photo. I haven't travelled there to see them. But I want to know, I'd love to, because I want to know what size they are. And if they're rather large, that means that the beings painting them were rather large. But that's something I've got to find out yet. Yeah, so them two factors quite intriguing.
Now,
yeah, well, sorry, you go.
No, Jess, on you go.
Yeah, well, today I was doing a little bit of research. I was trying to find something to link them to extraterrestrials, and I found this article on ancientorigins.net. If you don't mind, I wouldn't mind reading a little bit of it. That's okay?
Awesome.
Cool. So it says, one could be forgiven for thinking that there is indeed a remarkable similarity between the Wandjinas and the stereotypical image of an extraterrestrial, which we see time and again in art, movies and witness accounts. And many raise logical questions such as, why were the Wandjinas painted with white skin if it was representing another Aboriginal, all of whom had black skin? Why were the eyes always painted so disproportionate to the face and nose, and why were they all painted without a mouth? But what even is more surprising is the oral account of the Wandjinas, which has been passed from generation to generation, as all of the Aboriginal Dreamtime stories have. The story goes like this. The Wandjina were sky beings or spirits from the clouds who came down from the Milky Way during the Dreamtime and created the earth and all its inhabitants. Then Wandjina looked upon the inhabitants and realised the enormity of the task and returned home to bring more Wandjinas. With the aid of the Dreamtime snake, the Wandjina descended and spent their Dreamtime creating, teaching and being gods to the Aboriginals whom they created. After some time, the Wandjinas disappeared. They descended into the earth, and since then they have lived at the bottom of the water source associated with each of their paintings. There they continually produce new child seeds, which are regarded as the source of all human life. Some Wandjina also return to the sky and can now be seen at night as lights moving above the earth.
I would say that's probably about as good a description of what we would call an extraterrestrial as you're ever going to get, right?
Yep.
like Göbekli Tepe.
Göbekli
What was that,
Tepe, Donnie,
Donnie?
tell us more, man. How does this link in here?
Well, if you have a look at it from above, they're Wandjinas. As you look down on top of them, they're Wandjinas.
The big circles are
see
like
it
the
from
eye.
above.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never looked at it that way, and now when I do look at it that way, I'm scared because it's going to look like that, isn't it? It is. It really is, yeah. And Donnie, the other day I was showing some stone circles over in Scotland, and you were blown away, weren't you, brother?
Yeah.
What do you make of them,
That's
Donnie?
the Seven Sisters.
You think that's the
That's the
Seven
Seven
Sisters?
Sisters. That's also the Eighth Sister. Eighth Sister come down to Mother. She hid herself from the Ryan brothers.
Wow.
To carry the sacred crystals.
Oh, now we're getting into some real deep stuff here, Jess. What have we uncovered? I blame you for this, Jess. You got us into this.
Hey, I don't know. Let Donnie take it away.
No, Donnie, I mean, up there, I found a number of stones that had, for lack of a better term, it looked as if at some point somebody stuck their finger into the stone and it just kind of set that way. I've got no idea what that is, what it could signify. Is it stars? What would be your take on that, Donnie? And I know that we're kind of speculating here, but when I talk about that on a stone circle in Scotland, does that ring any bells of anything you've seen?
Yes, there's a site that's not far from me. It's a grinding groove site, and they got the same grooves. And there's also at Göbekli Tepe, the same grooves are there, and the same grooves in Scotland. And what I've been told, it's like when you go there, you take a stone with you and you put them in them holes, and they say that you're there and that's your mob. It's there.
Wow.
Do you understand what?
Yeah. So almost
Like a bus ticket.
There's also there's a women's site there, like in Scotland. You can see that's a women's site. So there's
That's
also
right,
got to be a men's site right beside it.
Yeah, he's talking about Clava Cairns because it's shaped like a womb.
Yeah, you know, up that way, it's quite interesting because where it's set, there could literally be other sites round about it that have never been uncovered. Because just over the road, I mean, it's higher up, so it's obviously a higher elevation of ground. And if you strip that back, I wouldn't be surprised if you found another Clava Cairns. So I think there's definitely potential for another stone circle to be near that we haven't found yet, you know? Which
it
would
most
seem...
likely be because it looks like it's a women's site. To me, that's what it looks like to me.
And over here they tell us it's a burial site, Luna. However, we've never found any skeletons there. So they admit they've never found anything that you would expect would be the one piece of evidence to prove what they're saying. It's a really kind of a weird, magical place, but weird and magic is where we are going next, because also on my list here that Jess has put together, we have got smoking ceremonies as water. Now I think we've lost. Oh, she's back there. She's back. Yes, there we go.
I'm back.
Smoking
Someone
ceremonies.
doesn't like what we're saying, they cut me out.
I'm looking at the list that you've sent here, Jess, and I'm just going to take it from the top. We've touched on a couple lines, but smoking ceremonies as water. Take us into where are we going with this?
Okay, so there was a couple of pics I sent through. I can't see what you've got up on the screen, so I'm not sure if you've got them up.
I'll get the pictures right now. Just you go for it, and I'll get them sorted. Okay.
Cool, no worries. So I'll actually let Luna, because the photos. So some of the last photos I sent you of them actually doing the smoking ceremony, that happened at Royal Adelaide Hospital site here in Adelaide, South Australia. We're about to build basically brand new museum to showcase a lot of the artefacts that we have, the Aboriginal artefacts that we have. So it's going to be purely an Aboriginal museum. And they're doing it on the site, the old Royal Adelaide Hospital site in town. And because so many people have died on that site, being that it was a hospital, they did a smoking ceremony there a couple of months ago. Dan and I were in attendance, and I took a couple of photos. I had a video as well, but it was too big to send, unfortunately.
Okay, I'll bring us over here and we'll get to see the smoking ceremony. I'll bring that up here. I've got the photos of that.
So that's a cleansing ceremony that was done to cleanse, obviously, all the negative energy and the death energy from the site, so that the new museum could be built. But I actually don't know a huge deal about smoking ceremonies, except for basically what, the basis of what they are for. But I'll definitely let Luna take over on that one, because those other photos that I sent you with the leaves and the bark and the bit of bush turkey there, that those were Luna's photos. So they're her implements. So I'll let her take it from here.
Is that this picture here, Luna? Yeah.
Yeah, there's two. There's that one. That's the smoking one, and the other one's for water. We'll do that one first.
Okay, I'll get back to the other one. I'll bring the other one up. Here we go.
All right. Yeah, that's it. My screen's really tiny. All right. So on the left, the long thing is called a coolamon, and that's what you saw the guy holding in the previous picture. That's paper bark that we put down and we wet that. And the stuff in the bowl next to it is wilga and dogwood, and that's what traditionally what I use. The other leaves are different types of gum leaves that different mobs use, and the turkey feather, bush turkey, what would you call it, fan? That's used to personally clean that individual. And what we do when we do that is it works on different ways. It cleans the energy of the land and the person. It gets rid of bad spirits and lets the good ones that are supposed to be there, like your ancestors and your guide, come in and guide you and gets these yucky ones out the way. Oh, that's right, I can swear, eh?
Yes, you can, Luna. We're not on radio today.
It gets rid of the shitty stuff, hey?
Yep, you see, uncensored, uncut. Love it.
Oh, cool. Well, I should have worn me yarn and shirt. Anyway.
You got to be bare feet.
Beg your pardon, bro?
You got to be bare feet when you do ceremony.
Yeah, that's right. So your feet are touching the ground when you go on country. Yeah, when you go on country, they'll smoke you before you go in, so you don't take nothing in there with you that you shouldn't. And you've got to be connected to the Creator and the Mother. And one thing about our people, they'll look straight at you and they'll know if you're bullshitting and you're not being really who you are and you're being a pretend person. They know straight away and they won't let you in if you're being a bullshit person. Yeah.
This is crazy, because in the last, 6 months or so, you'll have heard me saying, like, my gut feeling, it keeps me right. I can watch somebody on YouTube now or listen to them on a podcast, and I can tell you within half a minute if it's worth listening to or not. And I don't know where this is, I don't know why, but it sounds similar to what you're talking about there. It's like, if somebody's full of it, it just comes through. You can just tell.
On the street, they call it the bullshitometer.
Yeah, big time. Big time. And trust me, it's a good thing, because it's kept the show safe, because there's been a whole heap of stuff that we could have got into on the show. But thankfully, wherever this has come from, this little skill that we've picked up after 1,300 episodes, at least I've learned something, right? I can tell a dickhead when I see one. Do you know what I mean? So,
now we're talking.
Yeah, so it definitely keeps it right, that's for sure. But when you talk about bare feet for ceremony, we talk about grounding over here, and it's something I only ever started talking about a couple of years ago, because I took my socks and shoes off down at Glasgow Green, and it literally felt amazing. And I take it that's the same thing, right? You're connected to Mother Earth, right?
Yes.
Yeah, well, our
That's
bodies,
where
sorry,
we touch it with our feet.
On you go, Luna.
Correct.
Yeah.
Free
Yeah, what I
flow.
was going to say, our bodies are made of water and electricity. And if we don't earth that electricity out, it'll stay in your body and cause trouble.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
So-
Now, there was another picture there. This one's for the water, I think you said. Is it that one there?
Oh, yeah, the
Yeah.
water, that's the same thing. It cleans your energy, cleans the spirit.
So what are we
But it
looking
works
at
on
here
a
then?
different level.
Is this a potato? That looks like a potato.
Oh, no, they're the rocks I sent Jess there. I got one of them in my hand.
Right, if I got the wrong picture up, then probably.
Yeah, you want the other one with the leather. They're on the leather stuff.
Okay, I'll get that here. Give me
Get back
2
to
secs.
potatoes.
There it is. Hang on. There we go. Copy that. There it is.
Yeah, that one there. Okay, so what we do with that one, those same leaves, what you can smoke, the young version of them, it's a bit, I went out for a walk earlier in the time of year and there's stuff happening and I couldn't get the right stuff, but basically the long skinny ones like that, you dip them in water and you can sprinkle them on people. It's akin to holy water, I suppose.
Yeah.
And you use that, yep. And what we got here, ochre's the same. When we use ochre, there's red and white ochre, and the red one's spiritual and the white one's for everyday. And the thing with the water, when you use water, you're not just cleaning us and the land and stuff there, you're actually helping to clean the spirits, and the spirit people are really happy when you use water. And usually at the end of a funeral, when we do our traditional funerals, when everybody leaves, we clean them with water, and we use those long skinny gum leaves to sprinkle the water on everyone as they leave.
So what is your tradition when it comes to somebody passing then, Luna? I mean, over here,
Oh.
typically the body will maybe go home to lie in the house, or 5 days or so passes, you bury it. But how does it work over there then?
Okay, I'll try and get through this. Okay, so someone passes away. Usually, before they pass away, people know, and certain spiritual people go around to visit that person and make sure that their journey across is okay and has no fear, and they make it as comfortable as they can. Unfortunately, sometimes medication interferes with that because they try to keep them alive when they should be crossing over. So you've got to wait until the medication goes out of the body and then they cross over. So the person crosses over, and the family who the person comes from, the community comes around and brings food for a week. And we don't speak that person's name. The people in the family choose a different name to call that person until a certain period of time comes around when they'll tell you you can use that name again. And the reason we do that is because we don't want to tie that spirit to this world. We want them to go freely on their journey. So our funeral after that, we've looked after the family and the body's there because it takes about a week or so to disconnect from your body. And it's akin to being born where you're connecting to your body. It's the opposite. You've got to disconnect, so it takes a little while because you lived a long time in that body. You'll keep going back to it. So we allow time for that to happen and the spirit to realise where they are, and they disconnect from the body. Now, when the funeral happens, we don't wear black at a funeral, we wear white. And the family members that to do with the funeral, one person is elected, usually a spiritual person. They're all covered in white ochre, and as the family enters the funeral, it's their job to cover them in white ochre, and the family members get their arms done and across the head, and every other person that comes to that funeral has across their head done. And it like puts us all in sync together spiritually. Then the funeral happens. Usually what we do, if you're allowed a normal funeral and I was fortunate enough 5 years ago to conduct it in a city where I live, with a little help of my shy friend here. We got the council to give us the police force, the access of park area that was traditionally ours, and the body to be transported to that land, and for us to have that land for about 5 hours where we conducted our proper ceremonies. And it was the first time anything like that happened there for like 150 years. So for us, that was a really big thing. So anyway, along with the funeral, it's a pretty happy thing. All the women are in one pile and we talk about stuff and the person, and we get the food ready. All the men go down. Now, when a body is being prepared, I'm trying to go through this as quick as I can because it's quite a
it's
long ceremony and it
fascinating.
takes a while.
This is fascinating, honestly. Thank you so much. This is mind-blowing.
So as we're preparing the body, the women go and tend to the body, but we're not allowed to stand at the head because the energy seems to focus there. And we prepared the body up nice. I had the fortune of getting like a log, because traditionally we'd put you in a log or you'd be buried in stone, or the special people were buried standing upright in a hill. But we had to do 50-50, 50% cultural and 50% white fell away. And so we got a coffin that looked like a log.
Wow.
I fucking love this. And we had the log on paper bark. That's that paper bark from before. That's real special to us. And we had, I don't know if you fellas have heard of wattle.
No.
Wattle's a little tiny yellow flower, and it's little circles of yellow puffy balls. It's really pretty, but it's
also DMT as well.
It's actually used for funerals. Maybe you're supposed to smoke it before you die. No, it's a joke.
Maybe you're meant to smoke it at the funeral. I tell you.
I'm joking.
I had no idea. When I had asked this question, Jess, I had no idea that it differed so greatly from what we're used to. You know.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, and just when we were up in Barunga, one of the things they wanted us to do was try and map out the cemetery up there, because they've only just started burying their dead since the 1970s, when the missionaries made their way up there and sort of started making everybody bury their dead. Because like Luna said, they used to bury them in a log. And so they've got all these people buried there, but they haven't marked any of the graves or put any of the names, or there's no headstones or anything like that. So basically that was our job, to come in and try and figure out who was buried where, just through oral history and talking to the people that were there and stuff like that. So, yeah, very different, different.
Donnie,
traditional.
Donnie, what's the significance of your more important people, the elders, getting buried upright? Do you know what that's about?
The place they used to walk the country.
Right, got you. So
So
basically,
still
yeah,
walk,
it signifies,
still
yeah.
walk country.
Cool. That's because that's kind of alien to anything that we really do over here. You know, that upright kind of burial thing. And I know there was people in the chat room saying that's different, that's a bit freaky, but no, it makes sense when you find out why these things are done, Luna, right? I mean, it might sound a bit different to begin with, but there's a whole heap of logic, actually, and it makes a lot of sense, you know?
Yep.
So,
Yeah, it does.
yeah, I'm going to go.
Finish.
On you go.
I was going to say, I'll just finish the funeral. After the men do their business and the women do theirs, the reason the men do their business, they paint paintings at the top of the head, the energy comes, so they paint the totem on the end, and it like closes the door of this life and opens the door for your totem to the next life. That's my chair, by the way, fellas, not me farting.
It sounds good. I was about to say, good dinner last night, Luna. But this thing here, where the spirit leaves the body, and it can take 5 days or so. Now, you guys are pretty big on reincarnation, right?
Yep.
How does that? What's the kind of process, if you could describe that? I mean, do you go into spirit, or do you immediately come back? I know it's probably, but how does that happen?
Okay. It depends on the person and what their pathway is and where they're at. I personally have in my life witnessed a friend of mine, who was Scottish, by the way, Kev, pass away. And one of the last things I said to him is, haha, you're going to be born as a woman next time, because he had lessons to learn. Anyway, his daughter, I was like a mentor to her, and I didn't see her for a long time, and she had a little girl. And I saw her at the shopping centre, and I'd never seen this little girl before, but as soon as I seen her, I recognised it was him. That little girl ran to me, a stranger, hooked onto my leg, and I knew it was him. And the mother just went, oh, my God, that never happens. And I didn't know how to tell her. So I left it at that, and I never saw her for 20 years after that, or 19 years, because she was only a little thing. Then one day I got a phone call, and as you know, we got a business, a home business, spiritual stuff. And on the phone it said, is this Anne-Marie? And they called me by my family home name, because I've got 5 different names. I started getting sus, thinking, who's this ringing me up? Sounds really sinister. And then they said, I'm the daughter of such and such. And I'm thinking, oh, my God. And then the young woman on the phone said, I really, really need to talk to you. So I said, yeah, come, because I remember her mum when she was young. And she took me out the back, and we're having a smoke, and she looked me straight in the eye and went, Toots, it's me. And I just went, oh, my God, I wasn't allowed to say anything. You had to tell me. And we got this funny relationship now. I don't know if you've watched Star Trek or something, where there was a being that changed bodies, and they called him old mate or something, because now he was a woman and not a bloke. And I call her that because it's really funny, the relationship now, because she remembers. So anyway, back to past lives. That's just my experience.
I'm gobsmacked. I am absolutely gobsmacked. I am gobsmacked. Whoa,
it's just
Luna.
When it happened to me, Kev, I'm thinking, who do I talk to about this? Because I haven't got access to the old fellas out with Donnie. I'm in the city all by myself. The only person I knew that, or culture I knew that was like us, was the Dalai Lama, and I'm thinking, how do I talk to him? And
The Dalai Lama on speed dial. Sorry, get him on Facebook. He's probably on Facebook. There's probably one on YouTube. I'm absolutely. But yeah, carry it on. I'll get over that story. But
so
wow.
yeah, we come back, and depending on who you are, is where you come back and how you come back and how fast you come back, because you might be assigned a job and have to look after someone, or you might have what I call the waiting room, where things have to be sorted out. And usually, if unexpected things happen, you'll go to the waiting room. That's what I call it. Now, in our mob, you can come back in a dog's body and look after the mob. You can come back as a kangaroo or something, and these are highly spiritual things. If you meet one of these animals and they're an old fella in a body, you got to recognise it. If you kill an old fella in a body when you're hunting, you're in big shit. Wow. So anyway, you can be... And usually it's your totem that you can go into. If you want to, like, depends on your pathway, or you just come back into your family, or you can hang with your ancestors. It depends on the individual journey. And what I think's happening in this time of the world is that all the people we've walked with and all those other times, because you don't necessarily stay in your own country. You go, because this is the beginning place, we've gone all around the world, and now we've all come back home again. And this is what all these connections are. All right, that's enough now.
Wow. Donnie, anything you want to add to that? Wow.
No, let it sort of put it across the board there for me anyway, because that's basically what I was going to say.
Luna, that is it's amazing. Anything to add to that, Jess?
No. Luna had that covered quite well.
There was one more thing I didn't add, and Jess asked me this question before and I didn't answer it, is if you can choose, especially now, if you don't want to come back, you don't have to.
That's right.
So at this,
Because I heard somewhere that the Aboriginal people aren't coming back anymore, but they're done here. Their contract's up or something along those lines. And I asked Luna about it, and she confirmed that.
wow.
Yeah, their contract's up.
Time to
They're
go
moving
back.
on.
Time to go back to where we once came from.
Because we're caretakers. We come here to take care. Sometimes I think we did a crappy job, especially in the 20th century, but we're taking care of things. We're trying. Hey, Johnny.
I would say we're trying.
Yep.
Yous are definitely trying. I think us people up in Scotland need a kick up the backside to catch up with you guys. But I'm kind of blown away by all of that. But I'm going to go back to our little list here, right?
Yep.
Bush turkey and the magic stick. We've got. We had the magic stick.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you about that. The magic stick. That my brother made that for me. It hangs at my back door to keep the dark ones away.
Any more on the magic sticks, Donnie? What? This is an alien thing to me. What a magic stick? What did I do? Where'd I get myself a magic
Exactly
stick?
what Luna says. Keeps bad spirits away.
So is it a special tree? Is it?
Yeah, what it's made of, the beeswax. It's actually, I had to repair that one because it should be all black spinifex mixed with beeswax, and then a stone spearhead, and then a special stick, and it's got kangaroo fur and special painting on it. And my brother made that, so a man made that for me for protection.
And is that to keep away things that look like that? The Wandjinas? No?
Kinda, yeah. Probably they're not allowed in my house anyway.
See, this is amazing having a conversation with somebody that can talk about these things coming in and out of our house anyway. But Donnie, I heard you trying to get in there, brother. What were you saying to that one, Donnie?
The crocodile man.
Crocodile man.
Yeah, you showed a picture of a crocodile that walked on 2 feet.
Yeah, there was a fossil found recently, and we had the bipedal crocodiles, which I was, in my typical stupid way, saying, you see, David Icke wasn't so far off. There was lizards walking about here. But this refers to something proper then, Donnie. Tell us about the crocodile man.
Crocodile man was sort of be half brother to Miami. Miami gave him 3 women. He ate 2 of them. He was enraged by Miami, and they fought. And he looks exactly like what you put up there on the picture. It's 2-legged crocodile.
Yeah, I'll get that up here. Ancient crocodile. There it is. It'll be one of the top stories. There we go. BBC. No, we don't want them. There we go. Crocodile walked on 2 legs. We'll bring that up for people. Here we go. There it is. There,
Yeah.
like
Well,
that,
in
Donnie.
that story, he was an evil spirit. And
Kind of looks
he
like
liked the taste of human flesh.
Gonna eat ya, yeah.
He eat ya. And the only way you can, when his spirit, like after Biama killed him, the only way you get rid of his spirit is quampod trees.
Wow.
The leaves up there, burns them.
So you actually have to like ward them off with a specific type of tree?
Yeah, quampod trees. You know, they look like little tiny oranges. They grow little tiny oranges, the quampod.
Quamquats.
I've heard it.
Quanquat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's-
I've heard that quanquat. Yeah,
I was gonna say, is that the queen?
it looks like her,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Yeah, old Queenie lizard breath. You know, is there anything in your, apart from this crocodile? I think the crocodile probably answers it perfectly. But you hear about the reptilian type beings, things like that. Is that the closest you guys come to like reptilian beings as the ancient crocodile man?
Yes, that's very similar to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, since we're talking about this kind of thing, how about we jump to the time before the moon?
Oh, before the moon, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
This was a
That's
question
learned-
from our last show that was in the chat room.
Yeah, it came from the chat last time out. That's right. So, Jess, I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna light my PPP, and I'll let you take us on the journey of the moon because I'm gonna take notes at this point. I'm fascinated by the moon.
Well, I'm going to let the person whose name is Luna.
We'll just defer
Talk
everything
about
to Luna.
things to
Luna, everything you're in charge now, Luna, right?
Well,
Yeah,
it's
I
just a
know.
fair name,
Boss lady, yeah, look.
All right, about the moon. Basically, two things. We got law. Woman isn't allowed to go out at night on a full moon in the bush by herself because the man in the moon will come and steal her away. And if she wants to go out, she has to get another woman to go with her, and you've got to hold one end of each stick and walk together. So that validates something about the moon, men in the moon, you know, that story, the man in the moon.
Now, does
The other
this
stories are,
does that kind of?
there's-
I need to really ask you. Does that mean then at one point, I'm thinking there must have been a frequent disappearing of women? Like there
Yeah.
must have been something that led to them to say, right, you need to go out in twos now. It wasn't like just a precautionary thing. So there must
Yeah.
have been a time when, I mean, that sounds almost abduction-ish, right?
yeah, it does. Yeah, it's a bit freaky.
Wow. Sorry, Luna. It's just when you said that there, I thought I had to get that in before I forgot. Sorry.
And that's true. That's good. That's all right. What else? There's another story about there's more than one moon, and there's a place where there's many moons, and they decide one by one they decide to come here.
Whoa.
What else?
How did, well, if I, Credo Mutwa, now he's like an elder, or was an elder for the Zulu nation, and they talk about a time when two brothers brought the moon with them. Have you got? Is there anything about how the moon got here, or is it just that story with the selection of the moons, a place with many moons?
Yeah, there's just different, because
Yeah.
different places, different countries around here have slightly different stories. But basically, they all say there wasn't a moon, then the moon came, and they've got different stories to how the moon and the interactions of the moon are happening. I could go through the stories, Kev, but they're quite lengthy, and they're got lots of characters and stuff, and you know, you've got to sit down and actually.
One thing about the moon to me, Luna, is that without that here, we wouldn't be here. And if I was a small g creator god going to a planet, I'd obviously have a rough idea, you know, what I need to do. And the moon, even when you look at the moon, the fact that when you guys just had an eclipse down there, right? Or it's just coming up.
Yeah, I think
The
it's
fact that
now.
it's so precise, it just happens to be in just the right place and just the right size to give us that lovely effect we see, right? And it just happens to be perfect for controlling the tides and enabling life here. Now, that can't be random. That just can't be random, all of these things happening. So for me, when I hear Credo Mutwa, or I hear you saying there's a place where the moons come from, that really does, that resonates well with me, big time. I don't think that thing naturally came here. And that might sound mad to people, I don't care. But I don't think that just formed out of dust or something, you know?
No, the moon isn't what we think it is. And one night, me and my daughters were outside with our telescope checking out a full moon, and we stopped looking through the telescope because what we saw we could see with naked eyes, and there were little white round things flying out of the moon in their hundreds.
Yeah, a lot of people see stuff with the moon. And Donnie, what's your thoughts on the moon? What's the man business with the moon?
Yeah, I've never been taught that.
No.
Sorry, Kev.
No, that don't ever apologise, Donnie. That's perfectly cool.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add to the moon then, Luna? With a name like Luna, this must be where you're
Yeah, that's my street name.
you're in your element now, you know.
They actually use a few things, lunatic, and I don't know if you guys know what Luna Park is.
No?
We got two places. We got one down in Melbourne, Jess? Luna Park.
Yep.
Yeah, and we got one in Sydney. And Luna Park is just a big smile when you walk in the gate.
You were even showing me that I'm not sure what it is, but you showed me a picture of somewhere called Scottish Island, and it got even more relevant to me with a street name there, right?
Yeah, it's Kevin Avenue.
Kevin Avenue. If that's not a sign for me, at least to be doing these shows, I don't know. But I'm going to go back to our list here, right? Spiritual magic. Now over
You
here,
take that one,
yeah,
Donnie?
over here, Donnie. Magic.
What was that?
Yeah, because of history, right? Magic has got a bit of a bad connotation. But I would imagine the way I approach magic is the same as anything. Depends who's using it and what the intention is, right? But what's your take on spiritual magic?
Yeah, it's very powerful stuff. It actually does work. I've done it myself.
So, Donnie, when you say it does work and you've done it yourself, I mean, without giving away anything that you don't want to, what does that entail, brother?
I was doing a cleansing ceremony in a different way, and I accidentally flooded my house. So you got to be very careful what you do and how you do it.
Now, when you say you flooded your house, you're not meaning water, are you?
Yeah, my house went underwater.
Underwater? Because of a cleansing ceremony you were doing?
Yeah, I conducted a cleansing ceremony for the river over the back here to clean the river out, to get rid of the bad spirits that's in it. You know, that muck and stuff.
Yep.
And I sort of went overboard, and a big, huge flood came through and went through my house and cleansed my house as well.
Wow, man. Donnie.
Right.
Luna, you're laughing at that. Is giving me the goose flesh. You see,
We're all laughing here.
Donnie, this is like almost the creator kind of having a cosmic laugh at you. Kind of don't overdo it, Donnie.
But
you
in
know.
fact, you can actually find pictures on the internet of my house flooded.
Wow, dude. Jess, you're sitting smiling at this one as well. You know, that's some powerful type magic there, Donnie. I mean, that is an example of just how powerful that is. And what other occasions would you use what you would call spiritual magic? I mean, to clear the water. How about when we had the fires? Would that be some time you would like to maybe try and use spiritual magic, maybe?
No, that's the old fathers were doing a cleansing. They were cleansing my mother. Because you'll see a photo of an old man's face from a satellite from up and say out in the sea there. You can actually see his face. That was a cleansing the earth. Then the rains come.
Yeah, that's
We did a ceremony on the 1st of December before the fires to bring on the rain. And when the rain did come, it put the fire out.
Wow, man.
It was the first night. The First Nation dance. That's the one I was talking about. You know which one I'm talking about, Luna?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, brother. Yes.
Yeah.
And don't forget
And there's also
the dust
magic
storm.
for,
And the dust storm.
and all the dust storm.
It comes like that in 3, the magic number 3. Fire, rain, dust storm.
And I take it that's almost like purifying the land in some way?
Yep, and
Yes.
Actually, you go through some of the areas where there has been the fires and you wouldn't even know. It's all the regrowth is just incredible. We need fires here to manage the land properly. And the fact of the matter is that we haven't been doing that. And that's why you get these big, massive fires that are out of control, because we haven't been doing the burn-offs. You know,
So traditional burn.
Yeah.
Bring on new growth.
There's
Yes.
lessons
yeah,
to be,
it encourages new growth. That's right.
there's lessons to be learned there, especially from the Australian government, I would imagine. And I'm not here today to have a go at governments or politicians, but yeah, maybe they should heed listening to the people that are actually part of that land. Maybe they would learn something. And yeah, I remember the whole world, myself included, we were kind of sitting in awe when all that was going on, just looking at that. And the almost need for it, like you say there, Jess. You know, that was one thing that Max Egan made me aware of. You know, the fact that you don't get the kind of cutbacks and the cutting the fire breaks that at one time would have been taken care of by the Aboriginal people. Oh, it's gone now, you know?
Yeah. Now, Kev, you might hear our mob saying the word singing up.
Okay.
That's Bowl's magic. Like, that's for healing country, healing people, mentally healing, physically healing, and it's also for killing, which is the bad side. But
Wow.
when they
Brother.
talk about it, they say singing up.
You forgot about
That's
the singing for the
in
women.
old magic.
And then you got singing for the
What's
women. You can sing for women as well. How'd I do that?
Yeah, the men sing for
Yeah.
us. Yeah, if they like you, they'll sing for you, and they'll call you in.
Oh, I'd be absolutely ruined over there. I can't sing worth two hoots. I'd be lost. Yeah, I'd be left out, Luna. I'd be gone. But Luna, when it comes to the magic as well, you know, that healing kind of magic, is that something that's big with your people as well, compared to going to, say, your normal doctor?
Yep. Well, again, we got 50-50 because
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
people go to your doctor, right? Even our mob. But then the other ones, the cultural ones, we all know about spiritual healing, and they will.
Now, does
I'm
that,
a healer,
does that cause a divide in your people if somebody does go to the doctor as opposed to doing it more traditionally?
Well, it does for me, because if someone comes to me and needs healing and I see that they're on certain medications or just been jabbed with needles, it sort of defeats my purpose. The best thing I can do is try and remove the toxins out of their body and out of their spirit. When you're healing, you heal your body, but then it goes into your energy, and if you don't clean your energy, it'll come back in. And if you don't clear your mind and the thoughts that were attached to that sickness, it'll come back in. So healing's on 3 levels in that way, in physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
So,
That
Donnie,
makes sense,
yeah, that does make sense. On you go, Jess.
I was just going to say, there's a story I've been wanting to tell on air the last every time I've been on, but I haven't been able to because I've been waiting to get permission, and it's also about healing. And I actually did get permission recently in between last show we did and this one to tell it, and I just can't tell where it happened or any names or anything like that, or places or anything like that. So basically we were all, my husband and I and our 2 kids, were staying with a mob, and we went out to see a sacred rock art site. And we had an elder with us, and she called out to the spirits and asked for permission for us to go down to the sacred site and everything. And we had to climb down into it. It's like a rock shelter. We had to climb down into it. And when we were down there was heaps of artifacts strewn all over the floor. So there was grinding stones and ochre and stuff like that, and stone tools and that. And for some reason, my husband had a slip of the mind and forgot he was an archaeologist for a second and was Dan the dad. And was showing our little girl, the younger one, how to crush ochre in a grinding stone. And he got a couple of minutes into doing this, and one of the local people came up and said, "What are you doing? You need to stop doing that. You're angering the spirits." And he was just like shock horror, like, "Oh no, what have we done?" You know, thing. But didn't really think much of it. But the woman said to me, she said, "If your daughter starts hurting herself a lot, or if she gets sick, you have to let us know straight away, because we have to get Clever Man to come look at her." And Dan and I were just like, yeah, you know, whatever, she'll be fine. And sort of went back to camp, and within an hour or so, my little girl's really coordinated, not like the older one, but she started hurting herself a lot. She ripped her foot open. She smashed her face out on a chair next to the campfire. She got stung on the face by a bee, and this was all within a couple of hours. And we were sort of like, wow, what's going on? And then all of a sudden she got really sick. Like, she had a chest infection out of nowhere. No one else in the camp was sick. She got really, really crook, and she deteriorated really quickly and had a really burning fever. And at this point we were like, okay, crap, like obviously there's something going on here that we don't understand. So I found that girl again and I told her, and she said, well, we can't find Clever Man at the moment. We're trying to find him. And I just said to Dan, look, we can't wait. We've got to take her to hospital. So we're about to leave to go to the nearest hospital, which was like 200 k's away. And the girl came running over to me and she's like, we found Clever Man, we found Clever Man. And because we were staying with my professor as well, and her husband, and two of the PhD students as well. And they'd never seen anything like this happen. And she said to me, we found Clever Man, he's going to come and see your daughter. And I said to her, well, how long have we got? And she's like, oh, he's walking over now. So I grabbed my little girl, had her sitting on me while I was sitting on a fold-out chair. He came over, our professor came running over, and her two PhD students came running over because they'd never seen anything like this before. They'd never had Clever Man work on a Mourninger or a white person before in this area. And so he came and said, what's the problem? And we told him, and he said, oh, that devil nail's in her, that devil nail's in her. And we didn't know what that meant, but he said, oh, I can fix it. And I had her laying on me, and he put his hands around her head like this, and he sucked and he spat, I reckon 2 or 3 times, and he made this really weird noise. And then he said, yep, that's it, all done. She's fixed now. She'll be fine. And we were like, oh, thank you. That's great. Thank you so much. And sort of he walked off, and Professor walked off, and the PhD students walked off, and I just looked at Dan and I went, right, time to get in the car. And then literally before I could even stand up with her, I felt all the heat leave her body, and this was within 2 or 3 minutes of them leaving. I felt all the heat leave her body. She sat up, she looked at me, looked at Dan and said, I'm hungry, can I have something to eat?
And I have got
we were just
goosebumps all over my body.
Yeah. We were in absolute shock. And we went up to the camp to get some food for her. And next minute, she's on her bike riding around the campground. And the elders were sitting around the campfire, and they said, how's your little girl going? How's your little girl going? And we said, well, there she is there. She's riding around the camp. She's fine. And they just sort of looked at each other and like laughed. And they're like, yeah, that Clever Man's pretty clever, isn't he?
Whoa.
And, yeah, it just blew us away. And my professor had never seen anything like. She's a real skeptic, obviously. You don't get to be a professor by not being a skeptic. And she just was floored, absolutely blown away. Never seen anything like it.
I'm looking at Donnie. He's sitting smiling. Luna's smiling. Jess, that to me and you is like world-changing story. And the smile I'm seeing on Luna and Donnie is just, yep, that's a clever, that's a
That was
clever
like
man.
the elders.
Yeah, that's just the clever man for you. Luna, I'll
Yeah.
come to you first. The clever man, this whole phenomenon, and there's the clever woman in this house. But that story there, I think that kind of really it sums up what this individual is. But to you, I mean, what's a clever man to you? If you could best describe it, Luna.
Oh,
Because it's a lot more than just healing, right? I mean, it's a lot more than that.
Many roles.
Yeah, you work.
roles.
They work on many levels. Yeah, and it's a tricky thing. All right, they work on many levels, so it wouldn't just be healing, it'd be working with spirit stuff, so medicine, spirits that come in and out, good ones, bad ones. Also, we have spirits that are tied to the land and in trees, so there's a whole realm of spirit people. Then you've got the ancestors, then you've got the others. They would communicate with the others. They would know knowledge about access to out there. They could probably they disappear and reappear.
Talk to animals.
Yeah, they talk to animals. Telepathic. Can travel and appear anywhere they want. Find anything anywhere.
The interesting thing is they just look like normal people. Like this guy, you wouldn't know that he was a clever man. You know, like he hung out with all his friends. Like we asked the girl who told me originally to let her know if anything happened, what can we get him to say thank you? And she goes, just get him a pouch of tobacco. So that's what we did. We just got him the biggest, most expensive pouch of tobacco we could find at the local store.
So the clever man isn't like I had visions of the clever man living in some kind of really kind of almost above your average person, like
Nah.
not just
Nah, he's just like everyone else. Well, he seems like everyone
that
else.
makes it even cooler. Donnie,
Yeah.
Donnie, this is definitely man business here, man. I mean, what do you like if I came to you and I said, so what's a clever man, Donnie? How would you best describe it?
Well, the most powerful clever man, as you want to put it that way, is what they call the Kadaja man. He's a loner, and he's sort of, if you break the law, he's the one that comes after you. He's the one that points the
ritual
bone.
executioner. Yeah.
He's a ritual executioner. No one knows who he is, but when he's called, he comes to do his business. He does it proper. And there's nowhere
He's the
you
one
can
that
hide.
points the bone. He points the bone.
And Donnie, how does one become a clever man then? I mean, these people must stand out when they're really young. Let me I'll speculate, and you can tell me. This is somebody that's come back and been a clever man before, isn't it?
Yes, basically that.
Yeah. Just from what Luna and what you've told me in the past. Yeah. Because it's not something that you would just... Because of this, I mean, I think I'm on the right line. Maybe not, but that ain't something you could just take up in an instant. Like healing, talking to spirits, dealing with it. That's got to be something... That's a collective knowledge, you know?
Yeah, well, there was one fellow that witnessed our magic. He seen an old elder disappear and reappear somewhere else. His name was Graham Hancock.
Graham Hancock, for me, is, my opinion, like the world's best when it comes to all this type of stuff. I can't get enough of him. I've got two of his big books sitting up on the shelf, actually, but...
Well, he actually witnessed an old elder disappear, turn up 40 metres within a split second later.
That doesn't even shock me, Luna. You know, and the fact that it's Graham Hancock, not that it needs any more credibility than what Donnie's telling me, but that's a dude that doesn't exaggerate. He's not out into the woo-woo speculation island like me, you know. Graham Hancock is pretty much what you see, what you get, and I mean, disappearing, reappearing. Now, does the clever man then, Luna, does he really walk in between both worlds then, right? If you're, yeah, you're in contact with spirit all the time.
Worlds.
Is that's how it works, kind of, Donnie?
Yes. Yes.
You got
He
clever
does.
women as well.
Actually, it's interesting you say that because Kadachi Man actually walks with emu feathers on his bottom of his feet.
Featherfoot.
Yeah. Walk on air.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, they walk on air?
Yeah, walk on
Emu
air.
feathers.
Luna's sitting back. She's not wanting to give anything away here. Luna, let me bring you in then on clever women. What? Right, sounds stupid. Sounds totally stupid, but I'm going to ask it. Is it just exactly the same, but it's a woman? Or is there slight, subtle differences?
Well,
Close to the bone.
by
I'm
the
getting
time
too
the
close,
woman
Jess.
has had all her kids and become old woman, she's more active in her role, let's say, unless she chooses to not have children, and then it's still kind of different because we live with men and they sing us.
Those pesky singing men.
It's
If,
a little
if
bit
only they
different
would
role,
stop
yeah.
pestering you with those songs, Luna. I tell you.
Yeah, I know.
Donnie, take
How
note,
could
right? But now, so you say it's different if a woman has the children to a path a woman would take if she doesn't, right?
Yeah, for us women, just I'll do this quickly because it's women business. Traditionally, when you're young, the old women mark you as a breeder or as an auntie, which helps the mothers that have the children. Or if you want to walk a spiritual pathway and you don't want children, you can choose that and you eat certain things. For women in that spiritual hierarchy, they would be the ones that help birth babies and stuff to make sure spiritually that everything goes right, or if there is any problems that they detect, they would intervene and fix it. So for women, it's a different realm because here's ones that's going to blow you out. Women are portals. We're spirit portals. The spirit comes in us and we pop them out.
You're like a conduit, almost like, yeah. So when that happens, Luna, does the spirit stay in you, or does it just use you to get out into this world, or do you, like some people channel? Is it akin to channeling?
Yeah, because of the way your ancestors are, those that are going to be born line up in like a row around you. And when you go to get pregnant, it's actually a decision in spiritual world as well of who's going to go. And the spirit can enter any time during the 9 months of pregnancy. And then depending on the spirit that's in you can depend how that pregnancy goes. If that's a bad spirit that you're having or one that's not compatible, it's jumped in or you've done something wrong, the old women, what you call abortion and all that, they will induce that because that spirit's not allowed to enter this realm.
God, blimey. That is, but you think of how different it is over here and things, and you're getting to the realms now where we're literally creating artificial wombs and synthetic babies and
yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what's coming in there? And I'm not going all holy rover or anything, but call it demon, call it dark, call it wrong. This system that we're talking about, your culture, it not only recognizes the importance of like the tying of that soul and what it is, but like you say there, they can recognize when it goes wrong and it's dealt with, That might sound to some people, okay, that's terrible. Well, no, it's not. It's nature. And that's closer to what we should be adhering to than what we see typically. where we are. Really
Yeah.
deep. And I take it this is where the aunts and uncles come in then?
Yep.
How does that work for... Because an auntie to me is like my mum's sister. You don't get like
Okay.
assigned to be an auntie or anything. So tell us, how does that work then?
All right, then your mum, we'd call her Auntie Pearl. All of us would call her Auntie Pearl because in this room where we are, she's the elder. So in respect, we'd call her Auntie Pearl. And
Auntie, yeah.
yeah, what I should have done before we started this was acknowledge her as well because she's the elder of the group.
She's listening. She actually is. She messaged me to say that she's absolutely blown away, fascinated by this. So yeah, she is here. Yeah.
And Kev, what is Sir Uncle Donnie here?
Yeah, I call him Uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Uncle.
That's
and,
a sign of respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't call me Auntie because I'm, how do I put it? I'm too young to, I don't know.
I was going to say that.
Call me
I was
Auntie?
going to say that, Luna. Luna,
Ask him.
I was going to say you look far too young to be anyone's auntie. That can't be happening. Definitely not.
Believe it or not, I go to the Elders Olympics, Kev.
No, I'm not having any of that. Not having any of it. Don't believe it. But not auntie and uncle. And Donnie,
Yes.
I will call you Uncle Donnie when we definitely do another show because we're definitely going to be doing this again. But yeah, any more on this auntie uncle thing that you think people might?
Yep. So you're how can I explain it? Our kids would, so your auntie, you call your aunt, how can I put it? You call your auntie mum and your mum auntie because when you grow up, and especially at teenagers, you need that mentor in your life. So your auntie becomes your mother and your mother becomes your auntie. There's that version. Then there's the other version where, like your mum, if I was in your presence, would be my auntie. Out of respect, there's that version.
Yep.
And then when all the women are together, all the elder women and the elder men, you call them auntie and uncle out of respect. And then you've actually got your blood-related mob. But that's sort of twisted. Like I said, you call your mum auntie and your auntie mum, and it's the same with your uncle. You call him dad and your dad's uncle. And that's to make sure you got someone to walk through life with in those times that you need. You've always got that person there. Because you know how you don't want to tell your mum shit?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You want to tell them, but you can tell your auntie, uncle, right?
It's kind of
So they have like your mum and dad.
There's these other protocols as well, Luna. Hey, like you can't talk to your mother-in-law.
Oh yeah, you'll love this, Kev.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, tell me more about that.
Mother-in-law importance.
Yeah, you don't speak to your mother-in-law.
You just don't go near her?
No.
Oh, this
No,
is...
you don't talk.
Nah, use a third party if you want to talk to your mother-in-law. You go through a third, and you tell them what you want to tell them, and they'll tell the third party to tell you what they wanted to say. You just can't go straight to it. It's to stop arguments in the family.
That's really strange because that's the kind of system that I adopted with Anne's family years ago. I only talked to Anne's mum through Anne, and Anne's mum to me through Anne. That's hysterical. That is brilliant. I love it. See, I
think
told
it's
you.
a system a lot of us would like to adopt.
They were telling me, Anne, right, that your mother-in-law is somebody that you don't have any dealings with. You never talk to them. You send somebody else, and they say, "That's the way I live." Yep, she's smiling away now. Nah, see now. This is brilliant. You've given me an excuse now. Anytime Anne goes to her mum's, like, "Oh no, that's your business. Nothing to do with me." But no, again, so different to what we're used to. And Donnie, as a young guy growing up, you must have been influenced heavily by the uncles you had around you, right? And that's almost like their role, almost to, not to brainwash you, but to influence you, to show you the ways, right?
Yes. Yeah, I was growing up by all my uncles because my dad died when I was 8 years old. And The only ones I used to be able to go to was my uncles, and they used to teach me things. Teach me, bushcraft, spirituality, all that came from all my uncles. Some from my aunties, and mostly from my uncles.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that about your dad, Donnie. And the one thing I would imagine, though, with the kind of system we're talking about here, losing a parent's bad anytime. But there seems to be a system that you guys have where there's a lot of support. I mean, your mob around you are basically one big unit, right? You're all aunties and uncles, and so if you're
Sister, brother.
yeah, I was going to ask that
Yeah.
about sister and brother, because I've heard you two saying that to each other all the time, but that's literally what you would call each other then, right?
Yeah, she's my sister girl. She's my spiritual sister girl.
Yeah. And he's my brother.
Wow.
And you got other mobs that are your brothers and sisters and your family by relationship of where they live and how they interacted together, the two different mobs. So what do we call them? Clan families? It would be like a clan family.
Yeah, so how many, I mean, is there like a set number of like bigger mobs? We would call them clans over here. Is there like a set number, 5, 6, or is it more, a lot more than that?
50 something.
Is it?
50 something.
So you've
There's
got,
500. There's 500 dialects, and we call them countries. They're like little states within the place. I don't know how many countries have we got.
yeah, I would imagine when you look at a map, it's not going to be the same as a map that we get given of Australia.
Kev, if you could just pull up Tyndale's map of Aboriginal Australia.
Is that Tyndale?
Tyndale's map of Aboriginal Australia. That'll show you the areas and the
That's
groups.
a lot better.
Oh yeah.
I'll try and get a decent
it's not,
sized one.
Yeah, it's not quite 100% accurate according to us mob, but it'll do.
That's white fella map.
There we go. I'll make it bigger. Hang on 2 secs. Then I'll bring it on the screen for people. There we go. How's that? That one there?
I can't see, but I'd imagine you're right.
It's looking as if there's hundreds of different little pieces of land. Yeah. So this is
we're the second biggest.
So
we're the second biggest in New South Wales compared to Wiradjuri.
So whereabouts are you then? North, up here?
No, in New South Wales, Dad. It's Kamilaroi.
So where's New South Wales? Down the south?
On the eastern east.
That's on the eastern side there, next.
Southeast.
That's where my father's people come from. It's that Kamilaroi there.
So about.
It's right next to. No, back on these. There's Wiradjuri.
Got it there?
There's Kamilaroi. See it there, that yellowy creamy colour?
Yeah.
Next to the brown and the green and the blue?
That one there?
That's Kamilaroi.
Yeah, I can see the K there. Yeah, so that's where your mob's from, Donnie?
That's my dad's side.
Okay. So, now, is there, with that many different mobs, this is going to be a no-brainer. I take it not all mobs get on with one another, or do they get on with one another? Is there any mobs?
Sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't.
Yeah. So it's not like Scotland and England. You know, there's not one kind of mob from one part of the north that don't get on with one mob from the south or anything like that.
No. We usually get along like.
If someone steals a woman or something like
that.
Yeah. We got strict law. Traditionally we had strict laws. They're not implemented today. I wish they were. What happens if say one mob did something wrong to the other mob, the men would be alerted, and they'd like take an elder and a few young warriors, and they'd discuss what to do about the person that did the wrong. And most of the time, if they did the wrong, they would turn up and they'd get speared. And if one of those hit them in the leg, then they'd have a scar and no one's allowed to go near them. And one of those spears could kill them, and that's the punishment.
Wow. So, you know, that kind of, I was going to ask you this. I'd meant to ask you this, but the kind of legal system, I take it it's just sorted out that way then, yeah? The elders, couple of warriors sit down, talk about it, and say, I mean, there's obviously been times when somebody's been murdered, right? I mean, what would happen there? Still the same kind of thing, or? I mean, before we had jails and all this crap, I mean, how would that have been dealt with, you know?
Oh, different punishments. Yeah, if someone got murdered, the worst punishment isn't being killed or speared, it's been banished.
Yeah.
That's the worst punishment.
Have the bone pointed at you.
Yeah, if they didn't know who did it, the spiritual mob will go looking to find out who did it spiritual way and find out what the truth was. And then the meeting would continue. The elders would talk about it. And when they do that, you got to remember the men would all talk about what's going on and tell the women what was happening and take their consideration as well, because it depends on the dispute.
And if someone's banished, they basically give up the will to live too, Luna, hey? Like they stop eating, they basically fall into a trance and die.
Yeah.
That's one thing I've really picked up from speaking to, and I see it with you and Donnie really big time, but it's like a sense of really close-knit, like, community. And that, like you're saying, Jess, you know, that getting banished, that's almost enough to finish somebody off. That kind of bond, that's something that you only rarely get in, like, a nuclear family over here nowadays. You know, even, like, cousins and people that are blood relatives, because we're all separated and we're all doing our busy things, and I've got cousins I haven't spoken to since whenever. But the way that I'm looking at how you guys operate, again, it makes me think, well, we need to get back to something more similar to that. You know, if we're working together, instead of being even separated from our blood families over here and not even paying attention to it. That's a big change that could happen if we just get back to some of the kind of basics, you know?
Yeah, I agree, Cliff. I reckon we got to step back a little bit to go forward.
Yeah.
That's right. That's it. That's it. Got to come back to mother.
Big time. Big time. Now, what else do you want to throw in here, guys? Because I've got the list here. I don't know. I think we've pretty much touched on most stuff, I think.
Yeah, we've touched on everything except Slender Man, which is just a quick one.
Slender Man, yes. How can I forget about the Slender Man? That's fascinated me forever. But Slender Man, tulpas, what's your Slender Man all about? We'll come to you, Luna, first then, right?
All right. Skinny fellas, there's... what I find fascinating is that your Slender Man has clothes, our didn't, so I figured 20th century they dressed him.
So you've got an entity, so Donnie's liking that one. Yeah, we're a bit more politically correct over here. He doesn't like to go nude. He bought himself a suit. But, you know,
it's a Christian country.
How about I'm going to bring up something on the screen here then, right? Because this thing here has always reminded me of a Slender Man. And I suppose if a Slender Man had no clothes, he would he look a bit like that? And Jess, I'll send it to you so you can't, I know you can't see it, okay?
Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah, he would. I don't think he's that scary because they actually like us. In our story, this long, tall, skinny ones, they hide behind the trees and they watch over the children and that when they're playing in the bush, because the short, round ones are the ones you got to watch because they cause you mischief and mishap. And there's a story about a particular group of kids playing and the tall, skinny one saw the little round one going to cause danger to the kids. And the tall, skinny one stepped out behind the tree to stop the short one. So I don't know if that's something that a human made in a laboratory, but it looks pretty all right, except for the face. I don't think they're that scary.
So the whole the Slender Man thing is nothing new to you Australians, then, no?
No.
No.
Nah, it's not new to us.
So what's it to you then, Donnie? What do you think when you hear Slender Man? What does that make you automatically think of then?
Now you got me.
Going on a diet.
So, well, Luna, I don't want to put Donnie on the spot,
Yeah,
but
no, right.
when would you come and, like, the Slender Man Australia, is this something that would be like a bad omen, a good omen, ghost, good, bad? What are we talking?
I'd be good omen because he looks after the kids. He chases up them little short ones and play and muck up and take the kids away.
The little short,
Make kids do bad things.
the little short ones, as in the things I keep on talking about, like the dwarves and all the other things that we keep getting into. Don't tell me you've got them over there as well.
Yeah, Jess, can you put that photo up?
The one that I had on a second ago.
Is that the Yowie one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you got
the big Yowie one.
That was the last one I sent you, Kev.
Okay,
Oh, I can
2
see
secs.
everyone now. Yay!
You
right
can
at the
see
end
us
of the
now.
show.
Hey, Jess, right.
Hi, Jess.
Right, hang on then.
I'm staring at myself for the
No,
last hour.
the Yowie didn't come through.
Oh
It didn't
no!
come through.
Try and do it again now. Now that it's working.
All right, hang on a tick.
Luna's getting tired. Look, I can tell Luna's getting tired up there.
Getting late here.
I know. I'm just about to go out and sun myself, you know, and get rid of. I'm gonna shave this hair off tonight. By the way, this is all going. I've had enough. It's getting. I'm gonna be bald the next time you see me, folks. Donnie, I'm gonna be looking like a man again. I'm telling you.
Hair to us is really special.
What's that, Luna?
Hair to us is special. It
Is it?
conducts spiritual energy.
Wow, and you know, we had a footballer over here, right? Henrik Larsson, and he played for Celtic for years. He was like my hero. He's still my hero. I cried the day he left Celtic, and I was a grown man, right? Me and my mate both crying. You can laugh if you want, but this dude, right? He was Swedish, and he had dreadlocks. And when he had dreadlocks, he was like the Pele of Scotland. He was amazing. Nobody could get near him. Shaved his hair off, and probably had his worst ever season for Celtic when he had no hair. And people were saying it's like Samson. Samson lost his power when he lost his hair. There's something in that then, right?
Yep, there is.
There really
Native
is.
American Indians
Yep.
definitely believe in it as well.
Jimmy Jeans, he's another one. He absolutely insists there's a thing to the hair. So, Luna, the longer the hair, the more...
The better the antenna.
Yeah, that's basically what we're saying.
You mean a lucky you's going to go a beard? You got facial antenna.
Well, it might look like a beard on camera, but it looks horrendous if you're actually here with me. Wow, I am I'm blown away now. Jess, have we got the Yowie yet?
No, my internet's just
Yeah,
dragged.
there she goes.
I can't even
You've
keep up.
frozen up again. At least you're not in a...
Sorry.
Jess, I was making sure that any time the camera froze, you weren't in some kind of really...
Oh, thanks, Ken.
Yes,
That's so nice.
I was gonna turn the camera off if you had like ended up looking like you were eating flies or
How thoughtful of you.
You see,
Thanks, Ken.
I've got you covered. I would have
More
left
than
it.
what I did for Luna today.
I would have left it for 1 minute. I must admit, I would have pointed it out first, then I would have hid it. So, best of both worlds. But right, we don't
No,
have to.
I'm sorry. I can't send that through at the moment. I'm sorry, Donnie.
Donnie,
Unless you want to try and send it through to him, Donnie.
well, just tell us about it, and then what was it anyway? Was it a Yowie?
Yeah, they call them, some people call them Nimbins.
Nimbins.
They're little short, hairy man.
A little short, hairy
Look,
man.
look like a walk.
A Nimbin.
Yeah, Nimbin.
Nim.
And it's this photo of that sitting with a bunch of people, and you can tell it looks.
Yeah, that's town they call Nimbin. It means little people.
So there's a town.
That's
Yeah,
Nimitz Town.
there's a town in New South Wales called Nimbin.
Yeah, it's called, that town actually means little people.
Wow. There we go. There's a picture of one of the little ones there. I take it. Having a holy smoke. Oh, I want to move there. It's got the Eye of Horus. It's got conspiracies going on. It's got green people that smoke. Right.
Yeah.
You have to open up your borders. I need to get into Australia sometime soon. But Luna, I'm gonna come to you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the floor if there's anything you want to share. Now.
Oh,
Before we get together again, because I'm shameless that way. I love hanging out with you
Oh.
guys.
okay.
This is one time I really sit here in awe and I learn. And I'm going to have to listen to it again because sometimes when you're caught up in the conversation, there's bits I'll have missed. And I can't thank yous all enough. You as well, Jess. You put this together, really. I just come along and hit go live. But Luna...
Nah, it's all Luna and Donnie. I'm just here to
Well,
be the go-between.
I'll back you up. I'll back you up there. It's we'll give them full credit. But Luna, I'll come to you first. Anything you want to say to the audience, and the floor is yours.
Oh, shall I read that story?
Yeah.
Yes, that'd be a perfect thing to go out on, Luna. That'd be perfect.
All right. So anyway, I got this story, and I'm sorry if I missed you who you are or I offend you in any way, but this just come to me, this little story. I hope I can read it out right. Okay. It was a cold, clear night. We were all sitting around the campfire, lost in silence, watching the flames. Connie G wanted us to just be happy. So Rotman jumped up and handed out PPP. We started talking about things we found in the woo. Johnny whistled to ZX8 and Logos, asking, what was your first paranormal experience? They laughed. It was when we found the remains of a mammoth hunter. Oh, Marty said, that's spooky, Andy. Ha ha, that defies the algorithm. Leslie cackled to herself, saying, what about the Wookiee in the cave, man? Yeah, Jimmy said, that was scary. Me and Bill been there. Luna asked Donnie, bro, you heard of that? Nah, no, girl, he said. Scotty started telling us about a giant flower that has only one pollination every 7 years. King Sweet jumped up in excitement. I know where we can find the feminine queen goddess. Marinus added, and we can find jewels there. That would be an epic journey, man, said Sidvich. What do you think about all that, Kev said to Joe. Anne yelled from the back. It would make a good show.
Oh wow! I'm gonna cut that out and I'm gonna put music to that or something. That is that's
You like
epic.
that was just something that came to me.
That is
Love it.
oh, the chat room are absolutely in love with that. I knew they would be. Damn, honestly, guys. Listen, this has been even better than the last time, and the first time was great, but it's been different. We've got even deeper into the knowledge, and I thank you both. And Luna, I thank you for sharing this with us, and Donnie, you as well, obviously, and Jess. It goes without saying that now that you're a co-host / host of the show, I don't even need to thank you anymore, right? So I'm only joking. No, I hope you really do understand how much I truly do appreciate it. I'm so grateful that not just for me, but for everyone that you're sharing this, and I hope that comes across as sincerely as possible, okay?
You always come across sincerely, Kev.
Awesome. So, Luna, I'll let you say the last words, and I'm going to play my didgeridoo music on the way out, all right? I'm going to get my
that'd be good,
I'm going to get the didge back up. I'm going to get it ready to go. So, yeah, you can say some nice little words to close us out here today. And I'm scrolling up for my didge. Wait a minute. I need to find it. There we go. Okay, Luna, over to you.
Okay, I suppose last word. Love to everybody. Stay true to yourself. Walk your pathway. Be deadly. When we say deadly, that means be who you are and be strong in it. Until we meet again at the next campfire, we're all connected. So if you're feeling lost and out there, just think about what we're doing here, and one of us will turn up and you'll feel better. What else should I say? From Australia, we all love you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure.